What's up guys, Bearded Jeeper here. Today, we've been challenged. So we got another really cool Jeep challenge going on. This one is your worst trail damage. Trail carnage, trail breakage. Nobody likes it, but it is part of wheeling. Unfortunately, sometimes we break. I'm gonna tell you my Jeep carnage story. Our Canadian Jeep friend, Casey, has challenged a couple of YouTubers, and we're gonna keep this challenge going. It's gonna be really neat to hear other people's trail carnage stories. You can check out his channel, it's Casey250. He Jeeps a lot up in Canada. What you talking about? Trail carnage. So, some of you may be familiar with my worst trail carnage. Has to be when I snapped my Dana 30 front axle in half. This was a long, tiring couple of days out in the woods, and it really proved to me how the Jeep community can come together to help someone out and get them off the trails. You may be wondering, how did I break my Dana 30 front axle? I didn't only break it, but I snapped it completely in half. I knew the Dana 30 front axle was a weak axle, but I didn't really know how weak until I hit the trail, not expecting to break anything. It had been a trail that we have done multiple times, and I had come out unscathed before. I didn't hit anything, I didn't break anything before, so I figured, why not? Let's hit this trail again. Everything on the trail was going fine, going well. We were having a fun old time. Then we got to the section where you literally kind of cross over the river and go up the river a little bit. That's where we ran into some trouble. We were going, everything was going smooth, and then I needed to winch up a rock because I just couldn't seem to get any traction. I couldn't figure out why. Somebody grabbed my winch, attached me on, and I started to pull. That's when my buddy Eric noticed something. I was sitting in my Jeep, and all of a sudden Eric just says, "Hey, you're gonna want to get out and take a look at this." And I said, "Is it bad?" And he said, "Yeah, you may want to look at this." So immediately when I got out of the Jeep, I noticed something was wrong, and my tires were at an angle. I had camber. That's never a good thing in a Jeep. So I was looking underneath to see how bad the damage was. So that's when I noticed it was just pouring out gear oil. And when I noticed that it was pouring out gear oil, I couldn't believe it. I had snapped my axle in half. So then we tried multiple ways to try to get some way of raising the Jeep up so that way I could take a look and see if we were talking about putting trees between the axle or like big branches and tie them together with a ratchet strap. Something to get it so I could limp out of the woods possibly and even get just pulled out by the next vehicle. But that wasn't happening at all. We had one of the guys actually climbed up the tree, and he strapped one of the winch lines around a taller branch. We had a couple different winch lines, and we pulled the whole Jeep up so I could see underneath it and we could see if we could do anything. And there was still snow on the ground. It was kind of springtime. It was just wet and mucky, and it wasn't gonna be fun working on it here. And we got it into a kind of a flat spot. Eventually we towed it forward. We were gonna go, I had a spare Dana 30 axle with no gears or anything. It was just an empty axle sitting at the house, so we were gonna try to bring that out. We had a buddy actually bring the axle out. We were gonna have a swap right out in the woods. We got out to the end of the trail, and we were looking at the axle, and we just thought, we don't even have half the tools we need. By then it was getting really late, so we decided to call it quits. We went home, got like maybe 2 hours of sleep. Then we came back the next day. Instead of replacing the axle right there in the woods, I still can't thank them enough. All the guys over at Automotive Excess, they have this really cool off-road tow truck, and he was able to back right down the trail into the river and just yank me up the rest of the way. We hoisted me up, yanked me to the end of the trail. I still have some dents and scars on my hood from hitting trees and stuff as I just got yanked out of the woods. At that point, I just wanted to get that thing out of the woods. I didn't care how it got out of the woods. I just knew I need to get this out of the woods. Luckily, I was only like an hour away from my house. Someone else had AAA. Thankfully, we were able to take the Jeep, yank it up onto the trailer, and tow it back to the house and just dump it in the yard. And I still, to this day, I really appreciate everyone who stayed with me that night and even came back with me the next day and helped me get it out of the woods. I'm grateful that we have such an awesome Jeep community. Jeep community is awesome. Everyone gets together and really works together so no one is left behind in the woods, and you can't say anything better about the Jeep community than we stick together. So that is my worst trail breakage story, and I want to hear yours. Even if I don't challenge specifically you, if you don't have a YouTube channel, I still want to hear it. So leave a comment below, let me know what's the worst thing that happened to you, how did you get it out of the woods, what did you break? I want to hear it all below, so leave me a comment below. And I guess now it's time to challenge 2 other YouTube channels. The first one, it's kind of a twofer. It's D&E in the Garage. So both Doug and Eric, I know you both have Jeeps. I want to hear your guys' worst breakage. So the second one has to be my buddy JTM Off-Road. He just built an Avalanche, but he still has a Jeep. So what is your worst Jeep breakage? I know you hit some hardcore trails out there in Pennsylvania, so I want to know your story too. So breaking your Jeep is never fun, but it's a part of wheeling. We build it, we go out and wheel it, we break it, and we repeat the process over and over again. And for some reason, we continue to do it. But it's fun, I have a good time. I'm sure everyone who watches this channel does some kind of wheeling or has a Jeep and has a fun time off-roading as well. I want to give a huge thanks to Casey for adding me to the challenge and challenging me to tell my worst Jeep carnage story. If you haven't checked out Casey's channel, he makes a lot of really cool Jeep vlogs up in Canada. A lot of wheeling similar to what we do in the Northeast up here. A lot of mud, tight trails, trees. So you'll definitely like his channel. He also does some cool installs and everything. So make sure you go subscribe to his channel. Also make sure you go subscribe to both JTM and D&E in the Garage. Both their channels are really awesome. They're doing some really awesome things. And make sure you leave your Jeep carnage story in the comments below. As always guys, stay bearded, stay Jeepin'. I'm out.